Einen wunderschönen guten Abend, meine Damen und Herren. Wie gewohnt, eine Begrüßung in deutscher Sprache und dann switchen wir über an diesem besonderen Tag, nämlich wo unser 29. CRM-Konvos am 29.12. dieses Jahres das Jahr quasi beschließt. On the 29th CRM-Konvo, nearly our closing experience for that year with a very knowledgeable, honorable guest we do have, Denis Pombriant, and we are very happy and grateful that you could make it, Denis.
I'm delighted to be here, Ralph. Thanks so much for having me.
As you know already, as being not a first-timer around, dear audience, Thomas Wiebeneit and Marshall Lager and myself, I would like to leave the floor for Denis for introduction, what he does in our, let's say, CRM arena and in some other aspects where he is, like the paintings we see in the background, where he's fond of, and where on the one side, hobby, and the other side, he earns his money for the daily living. Denis.
Okay, so if I understand you want a little background?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've been a CRM analyst since January of 2000. So my career is now old enough to vote and to buy spirits and whatever. And I've been working for myself out of this palatial office since 2004. So during that time, I've seen a lot of things come and go, a lot of trends. Most recently, I've been doing a lot of research this year because I haven't been traveling and I haven't been working with customers the way I typically have been. And so I put my ear to the ground and tried to understand what was going on in the CRM world. And how people were taking up CRM, what was working for them, what wasn't working. And boy, I got an earful.
No doubt.
Yeah, when we were all looking at the CRM players, we had, for instance, the episode where you were quoted on the Soho analytic research you did. And we found ourselves as one of the introductory points to start with the research you did for Oracle, and where some of the friendly chaps made the remark that from a salesman's perspective, they do not really love their CRM so deeply. And this were the starting point for one of our spontaneous ideas, such as why the heck don't salespeople and their managers love their CRM?
Well, I think Mr. Freud would have some answers there, but
it's a nice simple question to start with.
Simple question, right? What I can say, and I would just also say that the Zoho research and the Oracle research were kind of two sides of the same coin. So I learned something from each of them. But why people don't enjoy using CRM is pretty simple from what I can see. Most of the CRM that is out there in the marketplace is old. It's many years old. And it works. It works just as it was designed to work. Unfortunately, we don't work the way we worked back when the stuff was designed. And as a consequence, it's hard to take yesterday's CRM and make it support today's business processes. And what I discovered in my research is that a lot of people are working extra hard to support their jobs and support the CRM that's supposed to support their jobs.
And there was a very strange example in the shower. How the hell do you take phones in the shower? Did they elaborate on that?
There's only so much I will analyze. And generally speaking, people said not just in the shower, but in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, true that.
Whatever they do there, yeah.
Well,
Not
washing
my
hands this
concern.
year.
No, but tell you what, it had a serious point, and I only discovered the seriousness of it until afterwards. When I first did the Zoho research, I discovered that people didn't like their CRM, but they were reticent about saying so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So in other words, we'd ask them on a scale of 1 to 5, what do you think of the job you're doing? They'd give it a 4.5 average.
Okay.
What do you think of your boss? 4. What do you think of the tools that you use to do your job? 3. Now, on a scale of 1 to 5, 3 is the middle. It's not one or the other. And in that research, what we discovered is that the harder the question was, the more people said, "Oh, I don't have any thoughts on the subject." So the number of people answering 3 just kept going up and up and up.
Mhm.
So what we discovered was that people sort of have in mind that old thing that our mothers told us. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything. So they were just passing on the question. So when we came to do the Oracle research, we decided not to simply ask people, what do you think? We asked them for emotional comparisons. We asked them, for example, would you rather clean the bathroom or update your CRM system? And they said, oh, I think I'd rather clean the bathroom. Or would you rather update your CRM system, or would you rather have a fight with your spouse? I think I'd like the fight. Would you like to go to the registry of motor vehicles to renew your driver's license, or would you rather update your CRM? CRM lost again. And what I discovered in all of that was that all of these other things that people would rather do were finite. They had an ending point. On the contrary, CRM just keeps going on and on. So if you really don't like something, you want to get it over with. And there's no good way to get over old CRM that isn't supporting your job.
Oh, wait a second. All 3 of you are married. Is it true that a fight with your spouse has an end?
Yeah, a natural one.
Yeah, it's called a business trip.
And the other thing is, my wife absent, I make that quote, marriage is a useful invention. Such is a bicycle repair kit. Now, not going in too much into philosophy, because this is a quote from John Pemberton, former owner and founder of Systems Union, which has been sold to Infor over some decades ago. He is very critical on the topic marriage. And Marshall, to answer this, the honest way I can answer it, after 30 years of up and down experiences I'm much too complicated for, let's say, a wife which is not flexible. And I was lucky. Mine is very flexible. And she is, to be very honest, extremely analytical, and to some point, the most important advisor I do have. Not only my chief accountant, controller, and looking for some of my better clothing, but she is always very smart. And that we have 3, let's say, nice kids, boys, and that they do their things. And we had, as parents, never ever anything to complain.
Yeah.
I'm a lucky man, to quote Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Yeah, I'm a really lucky man.
All these CRM things,
Yeah.
unpleasantness of working with those types of systems. So I mean, I was involved in CRM, building CRM systems since '95, and I can remember that the jokes that, well, we didn't call it CRM at that time, was a distributed Salesforce automation system. And what the salespeople that we blessed with our system told us during trainings is that they, after running around the whole day doing things that salespeople do, they had their wives tidy up the system the day after or in the evening. So what one could say now that this feeling of uneasiness with CRM systems is not new. How do you see that? And did that come out of your research as well, or different researchers?
You're absolutely right. It seems like it's an historical fact that people never liked CRM, or some people didn't like CRM. I would have to tell you that I was a salesperson in the '90s, and I used CRM. And as a matter of fact, I got my sales engineer to build me a little tickler file.
Mhm.
So to help me just remember all the deals I was working on. And I almost got fired for that because I was using company resources for this trivial thing, this trivial application. I didn't get fired because I was the #1 sales guy. But you're right. We've been having this love-hate relationship with CRM for a long time. In part, I think, because salespeople tend to be short-term, fast thinkers, get the deal and get on with the next one. And CRM sort of applies a culture of let's capture the data, let's try to build a long-term relationship, and let's do something good for the customer. Now, salespeople don't care about any of that because their relationship ends when they cash their commission check. Mm-hmm. They're on to the next one. So there's always been this antipathy. This, how do I manage using CRM and doing my job as a salesperson? I have to tell you, when CRM came along, I was a very happy guy.
What did you use?
I agree, but I have one objection. I agree that the old stuff that I started with in Bull computers, more used in the US as Honeywell, C2Z, Honeywell Bull. I started with it's called Vertriebsinformationssystem, Sales Information System, which had roughly all the data together, but you only had a dump terminal to get access to. And if you're on the road, you were lost in space. So a lot of it was in a time system or in paperwork. When then systems from the US you could buy in 5 1/4 inch floppy disks and it run on an MS-DOS machine like 8020, this was rocket science to me. Yeah. And I loved it. I honestly loved it. Yeah.
Yes.
And to us.
And unfortunately, it was not accepted by my managers that I did all my stuff not in paperwork or in VINs, but in my own stuff, and they didn't like it. So I had double bookkeeping, double work, which is not the real intention of a sales rep. Now, coming to that point, what do you see as differentiators these days? And on your researches, what is the mandatory need to make a CRM system loved, and that it is sexy enough that one male or female likes to spend the needed time with a system?
Well, let's get one thing straight, okay? CRM will never be sexy.
Okay, fair enough. It's work, so it can't be sexy as a wife.
It can't be sexy, but one of the things we asked about was how could it be better for you? And we surveyed 500 people who use CRM every day, and they told us that there are systems that are not talking to one another that should. So, for example, CPQ, configure, price, and quote.
Yeah.
It doesn't talk to the SFA system, Salesforce Automation. So, as a consequence, we've got to produce a quote, and then we got to email it or hand it off to somebody and get them to approve it and come back. And what we discovered in processes like that was that salespeople, were ghosted. They all of a sudden couldn't get the customer to return a phone call. When they leave a message that says, "Okay, I got the quote now," or let me send it to you, or whatever. Let's talk about it some more. Nothing. And 42% said it's probably because a competitor got there faster with a viable quote, so they no longer needed it. So what does that tell us? Well, if things were better integrated, it would cut down on the amount of work, and it would cut down on the amount of money that we're leaving on the table. Why isn't that happening? It can happen today if you run out and get a new CRM suite. Unfortunately, and this is one of the things that told me we're dealing with very old systems. We're dealing with old systems that aren't connected, that aren't integrated, and that's one of the things that's causing so much heartburn for the people trying to use the products.
Well, are we looking far enough forward in that case? I mean, we started this discussion, as you said, talking about how CRM was supposed to make things easier, but we spent too much time maintaining and helping the CRM system along. There's a cliche or a principle that all the new weapons are designed to fight the last war. So if instead of just trying to make things better for salespeople today, what would you think the next flavor, the next iteration of CRM would look like, given the way things are changing?
Marshall, that's a really good point. In my world, I look at CRM and I think, well, we've started off CRM about 5 times in the last 20 years. We get the latest and greatest. We use it for a little while, and it doesn't break, but it doesn't work anymore for the business that we're in. In 2004, long time ago, I think it was before Twitter and Facebook. Okay, that was how long ago it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. A year before, I think.
2004, I wrote a white paper for nobody. It was just a blue sky. Here's what I think. And it was called The New Garage. And it said, in the white paper, I said, we need to combine CRM data with artificial intelligence and machine learning and workflow and code generation and a few other things. And
15 years later.
Sounds familiar.
It's almost here.
Now we are there.
Almost.
50 years.
We still have to get people to use it.
Yeah.
I guess your royalty checks aren't coming in just yet, are they?
No, if I had royalty checks, I would be buying art instead of trying to make it.
What's missing still? You said we are almost there. What's still missing?
What's missing is adoption, and I really think that the next step in the evolution of CRM is cultural. I think culturally we need to get more involved with developing cultures of continuous improvement in our businesses. Too often we have cultures that say, okay, this is it, this is what we're doing. Let's go sell a bunch of these. If we had cultures of continuous improvement, number one, we'd be looking at our stack today and we'd say, oh, this is terrible. But we'd also be saying, if I had a platform-based CRM product, which is out there are several companies that have good platform-based products. I wouldn't have to worry about obsolescence of my systems. I'd simply go in and define a change to my system, my CRM system, and I would hit a button that says regenerate the code.
Yeah.
and all of the AI and workflow and data and CPQ and whatever else you got would get generated appropriately, and the system would work. And all of a sudden, we would have a situation where the product, I want to get in the frame here, the product keeps getting better as time goes on. And we're just about there.
Just about.
Makes me a little, well, curious, because we have suites, we have basically forever, since the early 2000s probably. There was Zebel started with a suite, SAP started with a suite, Oracle then did a suite. Well, Salesforce started as a point solution, evolved into a suite, or call them platform nowadays, all of them. So if you have a suite, by default and by definition, data is connected and processes are connected. Where do you think the notion comes from that they aren't? Is that a cloud problem?
Well, I would take a minor exception with the whole suite idea, because
that's why we are here.
I remember in the early 2000s that companies like Zebel, this is one of my cats.
Kitty cat.
Judy.
Over there. In the early 2000s, companies like Zebel would buy other companies in a stock swap, no cash.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And I think Zebel was primarily a Salesforce automation product.
Started there, yeah.
Yeah, they bought a service and support company. I forget the name of it. They bought marketing. They tried to build a master customer or customer master data base, and they tried to build a platform. David Schmeier, who's now at Salesforce, oversaw the development of 22 vertical market CRM products that brought all that together. So integration has always been, I think, a grail quest. It's always been something that's out there that we're chasing, that we don't necessarily have in our back pockets.
The company, if I recall right, was Scopus, and
Yes.
One of my later bosses, David, who came from IBM, has been in Scopus for a certain time as well. Funny enough is, when I was in an Austrian company, no longer known, which is now a part of Aurea, we hit into Zebel each time when they came to the German market, and we won. We ever won, because nobody was willing to pay for the cow if he wants to have only a glass of milk. One of my favorite quotes. Yeah. Zebel was extremely strong, but American driven. And they were, with a certain arrogance, ignoring market needs. And they had a breakthrough in the time frame, you could say 2005, 2006, 2007, when they really made their first public, let's say, customers in Germany, large call centers for cities in Bonn, in Cologne. And so they were really, really good. And I was honestly, to a certain degree, afraid. And then they had their deal together with IBM, where they had their first cloud Salesforce and cloud-only solution up and running.
Sales.com, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it's only that the old ones, such as we4, do remember very clearly, because either we have used it or analyzed it or have fought against it. Yeah. And trust me, when I was then with some other Alp fans, such as Team Brendel, a Swiss CRM company, we had a lot of winning opportunities as we kept it simple, stupid. And Zebel was large, big, and very much in depth for some large organizations. Till today, fantastic. Ask Bob Stutz. He still believes that they're his best product. Yeah. And I trust him on that one, because if somebody wanted the depth delivery, he would have taken Zebel. But if we go back to the sales rep, you were very much focused on the hunter type of sales rep, and you just made the very important suggestion, continuous business approach, which means also that the sales rep, not only that we make the systems seamlessly integrated and that he can benefit from this integration, but also that his approach is no longer get the customer, take the loyalty check and the bonus and run. But either the organization has farmers and hunters, or we are more educated in how we can make it more than a one-off relationship. It's not that I'm visiting her for one visit and make her sexy eyes and get her some flowers, but I want to be the trusted advisor of my customer. How do we get salespeople stuffed in that direction? What type of system we need?
Well, I think first of all we need to ask ourselves where we are in the time. Where are we in the evolution of business?
Mm-hmm.
And here's what I mean by that. It's pretty standard that product life cycles start with a disruptive innovation and go through a life cycle where the final step is commoditization.
Yeah.
And between those two extremes, you need salespeople to explain something brand new to people and teach them about it. And then at the end, when it's a commodity, you're selling it at a store.
Yeah.
You're retailing it, and you don't need salespeople. So where are we in that long continuum? I think we're still at the very early days, for the simple reason that my cat is learning to fly.
He was just looking for some more lasagna. So if he's more the Garfield type, yeah.
Well, I have this. It's lasagna in a can. And she knows if she shows up, she's going to get some. I just gave her some. So where are we? In the tech world, you know, we had a mainframe era, and then we knocked it down and we rebuilt it with mini computers, and then we knocked that down and we rebuilt it with client server, and then we knocked that down and we rebuilt it with cloud. And I don't know what comes next, but you're familiar with the movie Groundhog Day?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I commit. Don't know. Sorry.
Well, CRM is basically going through a short cycle of introduction, use, and obsolescence very quickly, and to be replaced by something new. So, how do we get salespeople to do something different? Well, as long as the marketplace, as long as vendors are continuously generating new ideas, new products, new product lines, we're going to need salespeople to do the missionary work of selling. And they're pretty smart guys and women. They're interested in doing the least amount of work that they can for the greatest profit.
Yeah. Efficient.
Say again?
Efficient.
Yes.
And to translate the Groundhog Day to German, und ewig grüßt das Murmeltier.
Yeah, that I know.
He knows the movie. Just
okay. Yeah, that's a cultural touchstone. Everybody.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is Rolf isn't cultured.
Yes, Rolf is definitely cultured.
Okay. Like a fine cheese.
Like yogurt, like cheese, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what is interesting is und ewig grüßt das Murmeltier. If we come to one of these points, such as the closing cycles, or to get out of these modus that it is always repeating itself again and again and again and again, the step out I was seeing is that what you mentioned earlier in a side sentence, to make it as effective and easy and efficient as possible with less effort. Now, that comes to the role of AI. If I'm a sales rep, I want to run like my big evangelist of CRM, my missionary, Mr. Mark B, running around with his iPhone and telling me, I steer this complete company with this iPhone. Ta, 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 ta. Yeah, give him the voice of Kermit the Frog and we are together. Yeah? Now, as I'm not Kermit, I'm not the biggest fan of Mark. I do show respect. Yeah. But you will have a mug from Zoho. You will have a mug of Oracle, like my in the cupboard. No problem. I just forgot to take the Zoho mug with me. The point is, what will help these people if this is their dream to drive their daily business and, for instance, their own sales campaigns and their own little mini marketing campaigns from their mobile phone? This is something which I found really sexy when Salesforce made that approach, but it was not interesting, or as you said, there is nothing sexy on it. Let's say useful. Go for useful. Yeah, like the bicycle repair kit. To steer all what you do in your daily work with a mobile phone is something which I like, as it could help my day. And I'm always on, and I know always when a mishap is going on at my customer. If I do not only see the one-off, but if I see the perspective of, I want to be the trusted advisor, I want to be a friend of the family. When I enter, I get my coffee, I get my favorite cookies, and we have a nice talk, and he signs my contract after I have shown him that I understand his next pain points.
At this point, I think it might be useful to consider developing some metrics. And here's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's very irregular to see a sales rep not want to use any aspect of CRM, but sales reps really want to be consumers of information.
Yeah.
And historically, CRM is asked them to be contributors of data. So save the data into the CRM system. Someday it'll be useful. Well, people are tired of waiting, and I think it's at the point now where all that data can turn into information and can be valuable to us. But I think as consumers, sales reps need to have about a 10-to-1 ratio of information and good things coming out of CRM to them, and one part, let me put something in. So I think if you look at machine learning and workflow and AI and code generation and a lot of the other things,
yeah,
we're at the point now where we can begin to envision a day when that 10-to-1 ratio is real.
Yeah, I love that one. Tom?
Is it realistic? I know, say, I just want to play devil's advocate now. Is it realistic to get into a ratio of 1 point data, 10 points information? Where does the other data that creates the information come from then?
Oh, it can come from the internet. I mean, we're already at the point where we're buying in data to fill out profiles, or we're munging the data to provide new information out of old data, even old information. But let me devil's advocate you one better. When we get to that point, sales reps are going to say, "Oh, the machine's taking over my job."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right. So that would have been the next one.
Right.
So thinking the same lines, but somehow they can't just be consumers. They are prosumers at the end of the day.
Mhm.
It's a general give and take. And doesn't that then boil down to what you said before, kind of a cultural thing, that it is not hit and run? So like the old Neanderthal guys come with a big club, hit your customer, then run away to get the next prey. But to build a relationship, become an advocate. So wouldn't it probably be working better if we came into a model that it's not only about hunting, but also about nurturing? So combining the hunting and farming approaches?
And loyalty.
Well, which would then be opening the doors now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But remember what we said earlier, that sales reps are very smart people and they want to maximize their output for the least input. I think it comes down to how we compensate our salespeople. If I compensate you to go out and hit somebody over the head with a club and bring back a contract, that's what you're going to do.
And then you get that, yeah, right.
Yeah. If I say, well, there's an extra bonus if you can keep attrition under 10%. If you can promote loyalty with your customers, et cetera. Some of those things are uniquely well suited to CRM, especially the idea of keeping customers loyal. But you've got to, if you're going to have a culture of continuous improvement, you're also going to have a culture that says we're not just hunters.
True, yeah. But at the end of the day, in a SaaS business, theoretically, very theoretically, customers can leave at any time. So it means you somehow need to get them wanting to stay. And then that's basically the definition of loyalty, right? You make them want to stay and to make additional business with you for them, for their own purposes. What would need to change then?
I would go even further in I have books around here. In the book I wrote about loyalty, I said, one of the things we need to do is realize that even a customer that has spent their entire budget on your products is still a good customer and worthy of your attention from a loyalty perspective, because it's that customer that's going to go out into the marketplace and recommend your products. It's that customer that's going to go online or on Twitter or someplace else where they can help new users understand how to use the product best, or any number of things. So we want the customer involved too, and it's not just getting the customer to buy more. And in fact, we need to find better ways to reward customers who go the extra mile to support us. And we can do that.
Right. So not just hunters, but hunter-gatherers or farmers. At that level of change, is it going from like nomadic to civilized? You've got. I know.
Civilized.
Yeah, I know it sounds funny, but I'm really wondering if it is that degree of culture shift. The way that humans went from wandering the plains, whacking things on the head with clubs and picking berries off of bushes, to settling down in one area and starting to cultivate regular sources of food. Is that the point we're at?
Well, as I say, we seem to have gone through 5 cycles of CRM where we just trade one for another, and we haven't progressed very far. I would say to you, Marshall, that it really depends on what you're selling. So, for example, if you're selling a new product idea, a new category, you're going to be a hunter. If you're, say, selling pharmaceuticals, you're paying a call on a doctor or a pharmacist just to remind them that, hey, we have this drug. There are other companies that have this drug, but our drug is whatever. I don't know how you differentiate them.
More effective, fewer side effects.
It tastes great.
Less filling.
Yeah. So, or if you're, for example, if you're selling electric motors in an OEM market where somebody's going to take the electric motor and turn it into, I don't know, whatever. You're going to have to play the issue of how's the economy doing? What's demand like? Are we in a recession? In other words, and we're gonna have to be cognizant of all that when we make our sales call. And in that case, we're going to be much more of a trusted advisor than when we're just simply selling a new category. And CRM has to be able to support all of that. This is cat number 2.
I was going to say, you've diversified.
As long as they don't get into a cat fight.
Well, that would be too entertaining for our audience and us. So I guess this is for one of the next episodes. But going into that, your book is just 5 years young. To solve the customer's problems is one of the thing into it. How do we get people in 2021 to think more customer focused? And how will the CRM system help? And what is your perception of trends in next year?
Wow. How much time do we have?
Until you need to leave.
Well, I think we're at a very interesting time in the evolution of the business world. Disruptive or digital disruption is a big deal. I think a lot of organizations are going about it wrong because rather than asking themselves, what do I want to improve about my business? They're asking themselves, which sales or marketing or service system should I buy? And the real question should be, what's my attrition rate? Do I need to bring the attrition rate down? If that's the case, then I go to the marketplace asking vendors, how can you help me bring down my attrition rate? Not, can you sell me a marketing system or whatever? So I think we're not doing well enough in that. At the same time, there's a really strong trend of companies wanting to get new digital technology so that they don't fall behind. So I would say to you that the big trend, the trend that's going to be most powerful in the year ahead isn't technology. It's how do you use technology? How do we educate people about digital disruption and what it can do for our businesses? And that becomes the job of the consultative sales rep for the technology company. It also becomes the job of the SIs and all the other people that are responsible for converging on delivering a solution for our customers. And I think we've never spent a lot of time and effort, certainly enough, on those ideas.
So you think that to become a consultative sales rep, one has to know a lot about more than simply, I know his favorite socks, I know his favorite basketball team, I know his football team, but from the behavioral approach, I have to really understand him better to become an honest consultant.
I think so. It brings to mind the idea of whole product. Is whole product a term that you use?
Yeah.
It's been around for a while. What it refers to is that early in a product life cycle, you can have the product pretty much naked, maybe with a manual, and you can sell it. But over time, early adopters buy that product. Over time, as you try to sell to the early and late majority and even later, you discover that the product has to have more and more things associated with it. It has to be the product, has to be the manual, has to be the training, it has to be the maintenance plan, et cetera. So what I'm seeing is that we are increasingly moving into a time of late adopters in CRM and elsewhere. And to be successful, we're going to have to deliver more whole product, more things that aren't, the product itself, but the things that make us successful with the product. Notice what Salesforce has been selling for years and years. They've been selling customer success. They've been trying to sell whole product.
I agree, and this is, to me, future and success. If you sell customer success, and if you behave like you are selling customer success. And I don't like this word to step into the customer's shoes, because I don't know the size and the smell is. So I prefer to help him to do his job better, more effective with his customers, and that he creates more business through my helping hand. But does this need a different type, not only of system, but also of payment and incentivization? You sell, for instance, caveman versus consultative sales rep. And I say this needs another form of payment. If I only give him based on the hit rate, like caveman, the more you hit with the coiler, the more you get money. Yeah, you may translate, Thomas, no problem.
Club.
Yeah, club. Coiler is more strong. Bah! Yeah, and it gives you also some injuries, because a customer once hitten with a club is not so easy to convince to come back, because it was painful. This is if you have to pay somebody, it's the same center in your brain which you will address if you have dental surgery. Yeah, it's painful. Yeah, and so you want to make it more enthusiastic, more fun. Yeah, and my wife always is taking the perspective that if we don't sell them like the caveman on the hit and run rate, but they get their regular payment and they can more focus on their customers' needs, because they get their regular payment and, for instance, a little bonus. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in large part you're talking about the subscription model, and we've seen the subscription model in CRM, but increasingly that's getting out into the marketplace. I mean, I can cite examples of companies that sell earth moving equipment, and they don't sell the equipment anymore. They sell cubic yards of material moved per day. New metric.
Yeah, which is fine.
And the customer pays for the cubic yards, not for the tractor or the backhoe or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a story for Caterpillar.
Yeah, you think?
Rolls-Royce does air miles, so it's,
yeah. I've seen it shows companies that do this at shows don't really have pictures of their earth moving equipment. They have pictures. They have live drones, and they say, this is the drone that flies over your job site that measures your cubic yards moved per day.
Okay.
And this is how we bill you.
Yeah, that's cool model. That's cool. Yeah.
How to get software?
That's about as sexy as it gets.
But how to get software there? Because this is not a subscription model. This is a success measure, isn't it?
Yeah, danke.
An outcome measure, or a measure for outcome. And right now the discussion, and we had that with Bob Stutz as well. So he said needs to be more subscription. So
yeah, I mean,
what would be the right model, and how could one get there? How to assess value delivered by the software?
That's a cool one.
That's a very good question. I think nobody's doing that yet. I think in order to do that, you'll need to make a detailed model of what you want to buy and what you want implemented, so that you can measure your success on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual basis. And I don't know very many end customers that have the patience to do that, and I don't know too many vendors who would say, "Okay, we'll do this because we're going to assume that nothing will ever change." And you kind of need to do that to put one of those plans in place.
You need to be able to attribute it.
So that's a subject for future research.
Happy to participate, because we actually were thinking about doing a CRMKonvo on that topic. How to get fair pricing, value-based pricing.
Yeah.
Because this is where we actually are at. But then looking into an enterprise software type of business, so there are so many variables in there. There's the poor description of requirements that the customer brings out, probably guided by a software selection consultant. Then the great sales abilities of the salesperson who will sell you, well, this is exactly what you need at this price point, by the way. And then the great skills of the implementation of the systems integrator that charges days and doesn't have any interest in getting that one. Well, they have interest, but it's not too high in getting the numbers down. So there are so many moving parts. How could one possibly get there?
I think I need to drop back to high school Latin and just say caveat emptor. By which I mean the customer has to play a role. The customer has to remember. At the beginning of our conversation, we were talking about doing the requisite needs analysis before you go to the marketplace. Not enough companies do that. And if you go to the marketplace saying, I need to lower my attrition rate rather than I need a new sales system, you'll be much more successful. So this kind of all goes back to what I was saying about training. There are many facets of training, and we need to train organizations in this whole culture of continuous improvement. And part of that means doing better and wiser needs analysis.
That is true. So how to get that one? Because at the end of the day,
why?
You will find that nearly none of the existing CRM systems in Salesforce, you have the value-based methodology built in the old days. And in the machine and in the engine room, you will still find some bits and pieces. But I come very often to the point that I ask, do you support a sales methodology in your CRM system? And the answer is no. And if I don't deliver that, I can teach them how to be more customer driven. I can teach them methods. I can teach them steps to go for. And the rest, what I get from the CRM supplier, I can name any one of the none we know or altogether, is that they give them a step-by-step, but not a manual insight which is following the methodology. Yeah,
Ralph, you are absolutely 100% right. Are you familiar with the work of Jim Dickey and Barry Traylor?
Unfortunately not, but if you go for value-based systems, Miller-Hyman, DESG model, all this behavioral sales, but I love to listen because I follow more the German ones, like Georg Heusel, who is analyzing as an old chap in the early 50s when he started to analyze how parts of the brain do react to impulses in the sales process. And this is what I made the statement that he came to the point that a dental surgery is as the same part in the brain is addressed, like if you have to spend money. Yeah. So, and what are the drivers? Why do you buy a Porsche? Yeah. But
well just to Just to complete that one thought, Dickey and Trailers sold their company to Miller Hyman.
Okay.
And they did an annual survey of over 3,000 sales leaders in all size companies every year for 20 years. And one of the things that came out of that, the question they asked every year was, do you have a sales methodology? And another question was, do you have a CRM? And a third question was, are the methodology and the CRM connected in some way? Only about 25% could answer the third question. About half said we don't have a methodology, and that didn't change very much over a long period of years.
In Europe, I can justify this. In France and in Germany, we did this with the Business Analytic Research Center in 3 surveys following each other. The status of an integrated sales methodology into the system is nearly non-existing in German-speaking Europe. This is a disaster area, or thinking positive, it could be one of the trends where one really could add some extra in going on to the next year. Yeah.
You know, without a methodology, we keep making the same mistakes. If you sell a product that needs a demonstration, typically a good sales organization will say, we're not giving you the demo until we talk to the person with the budget to make sure there's a budget, to make sure you're serious about this deal. And 9 times out of 10, when a sales rep avoids talking to the person with the budget and just goes ahead and demos, they don't get a deal. And most of that time, it's because there's no decision. It's because they were calling too low. They were talking to somebody who didn't have budget and who couldn't say, yes, I want to buy it. So methodology is huge.
And I believe that one of the early learnings from our Austrian friends in Update Marketing was that they have an ABCD matrix, which has simply some algorithms inside and simply set salesman friendly, customer, how good looking are you? Yeah? How attractive are you to me? Yeah? And this was something what we would have in AI these days. Where is the next best deal to get? Where is the next best opportunity to hunt down? Or where can I be with my service, be on the winners list? Yeah. And will the RFP be successful?
I'm assuming when you talk about how good looking it is, or the deal is, you're talking about whether or not they have budget, they have need, they have yeah.
The Austrians at that time had a succeeding model of Miller Hyman, winning complex sales.
Oh yeah,
Philip Reindler, and this was integrated in their system in basis, and this made them an advantage to Zebel at these days. Yeah,
I believe it.
Interesting aspect.
So back to the notion of trends as we are coming to the top of the hour. So what you basically see, what is the trend that you see is less technical, but more business oriented, business model oriented and process orientated, so that technology then can follow. Do I understand that right?
I think so. Right now, I think there are a lot of vendors with very good product. We have big supply, and we've got some confusion around demand. We don't know what to demand. We don't know what we want to buy. We don't know what business processes we're really going to have to support in the new reality where we might not be working all in the same building or whatever. So I think we're supply heavy and demand light. And I think we need to focus on stoking demand. And you do that with education, with training, with missionary sales, and good marketing.
Which is actually a next one. why are marketing and sales still two departments? Okay, no holes in the hands. Yeah,
I was hoping for an answer.
yeah, same here. Same here.
I've known some pretty good marketing analytics companies, and I wish they were better known in the marketplace because they do a really good job of telling you this deal needs to be promoted. That one's not serious. And I think if we had more of that, we'd be giving better, higher quality leads to our sales reps, and they might be complaining less about using CRM, because CRM should be the way they get paid. And if you're registering deals, all of a sudden CRM's not such a bad thing. But we don't have that. And maybe one other point I just mention, and this is radioactive. You ready?
Bring it.
We are, of course.
I think we may have too many salespeople. I think we have so many salespeople that they're tripping over each other. Very few of them are making quota. Only something like the top 20% are making quota. And as a consequence, that's kind of dispiriting for the people who don't make quota, and it's also something that causes the people that aren't making quota to do stupid things, like going around the sales process instead of following it, because they're desperate to close deals. So I think if we had fewer salespeople, more people would be making quota, and I think there'd be less desperation. I think we'd do a better job overall.
May I put it into a way such as we have too much unskilled and untrained salespeople? So if we would have more knowledgeable salespeople, they would easier meet their quotas.
No.
I think you're right. There's an old joke on my side of the Atlantic. It goes like this, and it talks about training. How do you become a sales rep? Your business cards are here. So training, yeah.
But then if they are already too many, wouldn't it just increase the competition, the fierceness of the competition between them? So I would argue if they all were well trained, then less of them would meet quota.
I would argue that fewer better trained people will give you better results.
Yeah, that's the conclusion. Yeah. So it's the combination of better trained and fewer. It's basically the combination of what both of you said.
Efficiency and effectiveness in combination would be, if they see it from a technical aspect, they are proper trained, and the one which are proper trained are more successful in an analysis over 2 years or 3 years. And this gets you either get trained or fire some, or get them in different areas of the company, such as like presentation gurus, which do proper product presentations. Probably they are more skillful there, or get them in the service department or into the marketing department, because a lot of marketing people do not honestly understand what sales would need, and are living in a cloud castle like Dornröschen or God knows what, with a fairy godmother. Yeah, this is sometimes so crazy. Yeah,
I agree. I don't know what all the answers are.
Yeah, but you always seem to ask the right questions, which is why you have the longevity that you've had, and why I love to read your work and hang out, have a drink, whatever.
Yeah.
I really hope I can get together with you again sometime in this coming year, because I miss you, man.
I hope we can be late for a flight home someday in the not too distant future and discuss the world's problems.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed, yeah. Solve them. Even better. After a
Depends
few
on how much
glasses
we
of
drink.
wine, we'll definitely solve them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so
Well,
we
that
have
brings
our
us
hour
to.
and a bit more. Marshall, do you have one more point?
No, I was going to say what you were saying is that we had hit the hour,
Yeah.
and I was going to ask Dennis if you had anything that you needed to run and go do, or if we were going to end now, or any of that fun stuff. But I didn't say it nearly as eloquently as Thomas would have.
I'm good. I'm happy to stay here all day, and I'm not sure your audience could handle that though. But I really appreciate you reaching out and asking me to come on. Hopefully, some of this discussion was valuable. I learned a few things.
Same here. If you had some more radioactivity, that always keeps people on.
And it's the aspect that somebody who is so knowledgeable like you and has done so many research in the 20 years and recalls a lot of the market players which are no longer present or which have been integrated in some other suites. This is important for the audience to see, okay, these people are not over the edge. They are not always in the cloud. They are the very realistic, down to earth. And what they say is, yeah, we need a methodology, then we can follow a cycle. Yeah, we need to have the right tools in our hands and to utilize the digital workplace, which will be a needed mandatory thing for the next 12 months. If we have some proper tools, some proper training, we can do a better job. If it's the end of the story, we honestly do not yet know. But there we are here for, to continue this discussion and to continue our analytics and our researches.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing I'd say to you is that I carried a bag. I was a salesman for a long time. I'm not in the industry anymore. I'm an analyst, and I think there are a lot of people like me, like you, and it never gets old. We have to keep training because we keep bringing new people in, and we may have to repeat the same things that we've repeated for years and years, but for the people coming in, it's all new, and it's important.
And
It's like fifth grade.
Yeah, and it's important to have institutionalized knowledge. And that's one of the things that these systems do well, hopefully at least, is to keep knowledge of customers and processes within the company so that they don't leave with the people who go on to new jobs.
My Rolodex is mine. How dare you say that?
No, put it in the CRM and it's everybody's. Communism, baby.
But another one, little drilling back to the disjointed data. Isn't that a cloud problem? I mean, we had it back in the 90s. We had best of breed solutions, point solutions. Well, best of breed because there wasn't anything else. So then we had suites. Then we had the cloud that broke it all down into silos. Point solutions again. Disjointed solutions. And then back came the suite in another incarnation.
A platform.
Platform, yeah. So do you think that this is part of the challenge or part of the problem?
Thomas, that's an excellent point. I think, as I look at it, I think we've taken a very long time to internalize the difference between data and information. And our point solutions have all been great data systems of record.
Mm-hmm.
The world we're in right now and going forward requires systems of intelligence, not even just systems of information. And there are a lot of different ways to get information together. Some of it comes out of systems of intelligence. Some of it comes from good integration of systems of record. We didn't talk very much today about the importance of integration tools, but I think integration technology is one of those hidden assets that we're all going to need if we expect to present systems of intelligence to the world. We're going to need the ability to quickly generate connections between different systems of data, systems of record, so that we can produce real information.
Very true, but that basically says that. No, I don't go there. That's too radioactive. I mean, on the other hand, it's probably the death spell for specialists, then, isn't it? To ever become big.
I think when one door closes, another one opens. We all said that AI was going to kill jobs, but right now I'm seeing AI do things that we wouldn't pay people to do. In terms of retrieving data and organizing it for our use, or triaging customer situations. So as the door closes on systems of record, we open up a door on systems of intelligence. There are niches that have not been populated that need to be.
No, perfect. That's probably a discussion of its own, this whole thing.
Okay, well, I'd be happy to come back.
And I think we would
take you up on that one.
I'll just have to talk to my cats.
Oh, no worries. Next time I'll bring my dog. So
mine's over there.
Yeah, so well behaved, yeah. Lucky you.
He sleeps a lot.
We still need to get her behaved. Okay, so from my end, so if we now start into anything else, it'll be long. And I don't think that we take up your time too much.
All right, we'll leave some for the next time.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Keep some powder dry.
That's right.
Dennis, thanks a heap for coming here, for being there with us. See, there's the call.
My phone is going off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well,
Thomas, it's a pleasure. Look forward to seeing you at a conference in the near future. Ralph, thank you. Pleasure. Thank you very much. Marshall, as always, good to see you.
Yeah. Okay.
Great fun. Thank you very much. We are very grateful.
I am grateful too.
Thanks, heap. So I'll just
Happy New Year.